Hi beauties, and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is all about how to get a flawless complexion using my foundation and concealer routine. I'm going to walk you through my process step by step. Also, today I'm going to announce my July Summer in the Sun giveaway. So if you'd like to find out more, then just keep watching. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you for joining me for today's video. And if you're new to my channel, go ahead and click that subscribe button and turn on your post notifications. That way you won't miss any of my uploads. So I've always wanted to film a how-to video for you guys and walk you through my process for applying foundation and concealer. Once upon a time, there were tons of foundation routines here on YouTube. So I felt like, why add one more? But I have kind of perfected a process that I think works for me, especially with the products that I used in today's video. And I thought that it might be helpful to beginners. It's also very good if you have mature skin. I think that it's a pretty easy process, but not the easiest process. But if you're looking for a flawless complexion, sometimes you have to do what you gotta do. If you'd like to find out how I get that flawless look, be sure to stay tuned for the rest of this video. But before we get to that, let me just quickly announce my July Summer in the Sun giveaway. You guys know, if you've been with me for a while, I like to give away a prize every month during the summer. So this is my July giveaway. I am going to give away a Positive Light Silky Touch Highlighter in Exhilarate from Rare Beauty. And this is the winner, so I'm going to keep it in the box, but I do have mine with me, and I'm going to show you this highlighter in a moment. And I'm also giving away the Positive Light Precision Brush by Rare Beauty. And I thought that it would be nice to get the highlighter as well as the brush used to apply this highlighter. I've bragged on this highlighter quite a bit here on my channel, and it has been completely viral on all sorts of social media platforms. It is a beautiful highlighter, and this is sort of the champagne gold color. So I love this color for my complexion, and it's really great for medium skin tones. So I felt like this one would be the best choice for a giveaway because most people could wear this highlighter, and it is the highlighter that I am wearing today. And I will show my application of the highlighter and my bronzer and blush, even though those aren't the focus of this video. I'm going to kind of speed through that part at the end of this video, so you will see me actually apply it. And I have actually kind of bopped my beauty blender over the highlighter to sort of make it look a little bit more subtle. It is a very, very blingy and impressive highlighter. All of the giveaway rules will be down below in the description box. You must subscribe to my channel, like this video, and leave a positive comment down below in order to be eligible to win. And you must be 18 years old or older. There will be a raffle copter link down below that you can click and find out all of the information that you need to know about how to enter this giveaway. My giveaways last around 2 weeks. I will post the specific dates for the giveaway in the description box. So good luck to everyone who is going to enter this giveaway. So without further delay, let's go ahead and dive into today's video. When I have time, I enjoy using the MAC Fix Plus Prep and Prime Spray. It's very refreshing and hydrating, but it's not oily. It has a nice light fragrance. It is one of those kind of universal sprays that can be used to prep the skin before makeup. It can also be used to take down the look of powder, and it can be used to set makeup if you just want a light set. I really don't know of another spray that can compare. If you do know of something that's just as good as this, leave it in the comments down below. Next, I like to go in with a primer. Once upon a time, I did not use primer. When I wore like powder foundations, I didn't use primer, but now I always use primer, and I definitely can tell a difference in the wear of my makeup depending on the primer I use. So it's important that you choose a primer to serve the purpose that you'd like for it to serve. There are lots of glowy primers, mattifying primers, smoothing primers like this one. This is Jane Iredale Smooth Affair Brightening Primer. It's a little bit pricey. I got it half off during Ulta 21 Days of Beauty. It looks like this. But I have enjoyed this primer. I just think it's kind of a good all-around primer, a brightening, blurring, and hydrating primer that helps to maintain the skin's youthful appearance by minimizing the appearance of pores and fine lines. It also preps the skin so makeup goes on easier and helps to extend wear. The foundation that I will be using today is the Makeup Forever HD Skin Foundation, and it is in the shade 3Y52. This is a natural finish long wear foundation that is also medium coverage, and it is good for oily, normal, or combination skin. This is also a 24-hour foundation. So I would advise that when you select your foundation that you know your skin type. I'm combination skin. If you don't know your skin type, someone at a cosmetic counter should be able to help you determine your skin type, and then do a little research on the foundation to make sure it is applicable to your skin type. It's very easy to get caught up in videos that we see here on YouTube, and your favorite YouTuber is using a particular foundation that you just think is going to look amazing on you. You purchase it and it doesn't look as good on you. It's best to know your skin type and know what you're looking for in a foundation before you make your selection. I like to start off with one pump and sometimes two. We're going to start with one so that you can kind of get an idea of what one pump will look like. I try not to apply too much foundation. There were times when I probably did apply too much foundation. Over the years, I have gotten better about applying less because you're going to apply concealer. You're going to apply powder. And once you put everything on your face, you can look cakey really quickly. So start off with less foundation and build it up in places where you need it. So we're going to start off with one pump. I am using this lovely SONIA G brush. This is the Jumbo Base Foundation Brush by SONIA G, and I really love this brush. And this looks a little bit light on me today, probably because I have gotten a little bit of sun, but it hopefully will blend in really nicely. But I have been in the sun a little bit because it is summertime. And I actually apply less in my T-zone because I know that I'm going to apply concealer. And I do apply a little bit, but notice how I kind of have blended around the perimeter of my face first, and then I may take whatever's left on the brush sort of in this area, but I don't directly apply foundation in my T-zone where I know I'm going to apply concealer. So be mindful of that. This brush sort of has a contour shape. So how I am applying the foundation fits this type of brush. This is the Flawless Airbrush foundation brush, but I use it for concealer because it's smaller, but it's more of a buffing style brush. So you might apply your foundation in a circular motion like this if you have a buffing brush like this one, or like this Real Techniques foundation brush. Again, it's more like a buffing motion, and you'll achieve an airbrushed appearance with that. But this particular brush, just based on the shape, I pounce it on versus buffing. So I feel like I've got really light coverage with that one pump. So let's go in with another pump, and I'm gonna target some areas where I know I need a little more help, like here where I have more scarring from a few blemishes, and my forehead tends to be darker around the perimeter. So I'm gonna sort of pounce over where I see blemishes and blend it out and hope that I'll get pretty good coverage there. And I'm gonna show you something else that you can do as well if it's still not covering the way you want. And when you are doing this, know what type of foundation you are using, because some dry down really quickly, and before you could actually blend it out, it's already drying. And I'm gonna actually buff a little bit up here in more of a circular motion here. But so know whether your foundation that you're working with dries quickly to know how much you can apply at one time. I have a little bit still left on my hand. I have a concealer brush. This is the Airbrush Detail Brush. So I'm going to take a little bit of this and I'm just going to focus it on the area. You could use concealer to do this, not necessarily foundation, but I'm just going to keep trying to build with my foundation instead of grabbing a concealer since I have some left on my hand. And I'm just gently buffing. Now this is taking me a little longer simply because I'm talking. If you're doing this at home, it won't take very long, especially once you get used to the technique. Now, if I'm wearing makeup every day, I don't always care if a mark is showing. So I may not go through this extra step. But if it's a special occasion and I don't want marks showing on my face, then I may go the extra step that I just did using that detail brush. Now you just want to make sure that you keep kind of buffing and checking closely in the mirror to make sure that you've blended everything and you don't have streaks. And please blend a little bit beyond your jawline. I don't like to blend down my neck because I don't want foundation on my clothing if I had a shirt that was here. But I do at least blend beyond my jawline and I go a little ways down so that you don't see that line of demarcation. You just don't want that. So now you see, even though I was a little bit darker in complexion, like I said, I've gotten some sun, this is blended in pretty nicely. It's a pretty good foundation match for me. Think about that when selecting your foundation, to try to choose something that is a good match. Or if it is off by a little bit, make sure that you have bronzer and contour products and things like that to kind of blend it into your skin. I'm more of a foundation brush person, but over the years I've switched it up and I also have used a sponge. So I do have a Beautyblender here. I think that by far the Beautyblender still is my favorite sponge. I haven't really found a sponge that I enjoy more. I didn't apply my foundation with that, but just for the sake of using it for this video, I'll go back over everything except this spot that I corrected and just sort of pounce my Beautyblender over everything to make sure that it's nice and smooth and won't look too cakey. It's just a good way to sort of make sure everything is blended in well and looks very natural. So you can use a Beautyblender in conjunction with your brush for that purpose. But if you want your foundation to look more sheer and look a lot more natural on the complexion and not get too cakey or heavy, if you really want that type of look, then a sponge is the way to go. Just so you know too, guys, for beginners, when you buy this Beautyblender, it's going to be much smaller and you need to wet it in order to apply your foundation. You don't use a beauty sponge dry for the most part. I don't know any that you use dry. So that's my foundation application. So now the next thing that I have been doing currently is using a color corrector because I am aging. I'm almost 50 years old, be 50 in a couple of weeks. I have more pronounced dark circles. The color corrector that I really like is this one by Charlotte Tilbury, but I think that it is currently being discontinued, but you can still find this on several websites. There's different colors. There's like 2 shades still available at Sephora. You can find like 1 shade still available at Charlotte Tilbury's website, and I was able to see all of the shades. There are like 4 shades of this, and this one is number 3. I saw all 4 shades available on Beautylicious website. So if you're interested in getting this color corrector, you might want to jump on it quickly. I'm going to just take my brush. This is the Classic Base by SONIA G. And what I have been doing lately is just taking a little bit here on my brush, and I just kind of pounce it over my dark circles in a very light layer, not too much, because I am going to apply concealer, and the concealer will do the rest of the work, but I just try to color correct a little bit before applying concealer. For me, the orange in this color corrector is going to cancel out the dark circles. It's going to look a little crazy at first, but don't be alarmed. And don't go overboard, because remember, you're going to keep layering on products, so you don't want to apply too much. So I've just applied a light layer just to help my concealer just a little bit. The concealer that I'm choosing today is the Pat McGrath concealer in the shade M17. And this is a very golden shade, but not too bright. I do have some concealers that are brighter than some of my other concealers. I don't always intend to buy them so bright, but when you're purchasing concealer online, sometimes it's difficult to get your shade just right, and I don't always want to return the concealer. So this one is a really good shade match and has more of a golden hue, and I just like how it wears. So it may look like that's a lot, but it really is a very light layer of concealer that I'm applying right now. Depending on your under eyes and why you are using concealer, you want to start off light and then build it up if needed. So I'm gonna apply a little light layer, and again, it may look like it's more than it is, but that is a very light layer. And this that I'm applying down the center here is for the purpose of brightening the center of my face. You can also apply it here on the chin if you really want that brightening effect throughout the whole T-zone. But I'm just gonna apply it where you see it here, and just a little light amount. We're gonna take the same brush that I used for the color corrector, and we're gonna just start blending that out. And this is again my first layer, and I will probably add a little bit more. I like to take concealer over my eyelids to kind of cancel out a little bit of the darkness on my eyelids as well. Now the brush that I'm using is actually a foundation brush. But in my real life, like real life, when you are getting ready for work, I don't have time for this size brush. I have time for a little bit larger brush so that it spreads it out more quickly. So I just like this size brush or this size brush. But if you have less to apply and you have smaller eyes and you have more time, then you may want to use a smaller kind of detail brush for your concealer. That is one layer of concealer. I'm going to apply a little bit more because I did take my color corrector down just a little bit to this area, and I feel like I can still see a little bit of my color corrector. So I feel like I need a little bit more. And by applying just a slight amount more, it sort of helps to fill in these little divots, is what I call them, where they're kind of sunk in. It kind of helps to smooth that under eye out. We're going to apply a little bit more, but as you can tell, it looks pretty good just with that amount. And you don't want to apply too much because then your under eyes can begin to get a little bit more cakey looking, and you don't want that. I'm going to try to cancel out that darkness and pull it down a little bit over the color corrector. Now, I again have mentioned I'm more of a brush person. You can also use a sponge, So for the sake of the video, for you sponge users, I'm going to use a sponge. I do sometimes do this, but what I do know with a sponge, it will give you a very natural finish, but it does also sometimes shear it out a little bit. So if you're wanting a little more coverage, you may want to stick with your brush. But this does a good job of blending it in and making it look really seamless. So I'm going to also take it over this eye to make sure that they look the same. And I think Pat McGrath makes a really good concealer. You want to choose something that doesn't cause creasing and doesn't accent fine lines, and I think that this one is pretty good at both of those things. We're trying to get that very snatched look and a very perfect base. I purchased this a while ago but wasn't using it consistently, and one of the things that I've added back to my foundation concealer routine is the Pat McGrath Labs, oh gosh, it has a long name, Pat McGrath Labs Medium Skin Fetish Sublime Perfection Blurring Under Eye Powder. By using a color corrector, a really good concealer, and then this blurring powder along with my loose powder, then I just get a more perfect under eye. Now I like to use a small brush. This is the tool that I'm using. This is the Yano series by Beautylish number 5 brush. And this is just a little small powder brush. Other brands, like affordable brands like Real Techniques, makes a brush that's this size and looks like this. So you don't have to use this natural haired brush. However, like this particular brush has a blend of natural hair and synthetic. And I do think that a very high quality brush does give you a different type of result. So to each his own, but I really like this particular brush. So I'm gonna like take a little bit of powder on my brush, just a small amount, and we're gonna just dab it under the eyes here. So we'll do the right eye first so that you can kind of see what we are looking like. Okay. So small amount, and look at how it sort of mattified and blurred the under eye, versus like here you can still see the little divot and you see a little bit more glow there. And for some people that may be what they're going after. But here it sort of has smoothed everything and mattified my under eye. Pat McGrath, no Pat McGrath. Okay, so we'll take a little bit more and do the other under eye. But again, you just want to dip in maybe 1 or 2 times. That's kind of been my experience, so that it doesn't look too cakey. And I just sort of pounce it and I take it down a little bit over my cheek where I have visible pores to help with the blurring. And it helps blur those pores a little bit. This comes in lots of shades, and including like a yellow shade if you have deeper skin. So I wanted more of a translucent look, so I chose the medium shade for myself. I'm loving how my under eyes are looking right now. Loving how they're looking so far, but now we need a powder everywhere. So the next thing that I like to do is take a translucent powder, and this one is the Prisme Libre. I think that is like the number 1 shade, but it is the one that has the different light colors, like they're sort of light lavender, blue, green, that kind of thing. And this one is for more fair skin, but to me it is quite translucent. So I like this one because I'm more of a translucent powder person. We take a little bit of this and we will mix it together here because it's kind of a color correcting type of powder. They make this in various colors. So it's a little bit more pricey, a little high end, but there are other powders that are not as expensive as this. And they do make this in deeper shades if you're not a translucent powder person and you want something that's a little darker a little bit. So I'm just gonna blend this out under my eye first. And I'm gonna put a little on my T-zone first using the same small powder brush. Like to put a little bit more kind of in the corner of the nose, places where you get a little more oily, right? Now I have a little bit left here, not much. So I'm going to take this La Mer powder brush and I'm just going to pick up what's left in here. And I will apply this to the rest of the face. And remember, we put foundation here, so I'm also applying a little powder here to make sure that that is also set. So this is setting the liquid foundation that you just applied. It's not required that you use a setting powder, but I am combination skin. I get oily in my T-zone. I'm more normal everywhere else. And I just find that if I don't set it, I'm going to be really oily. Now, this powder comes with a little puff, and you could also use the puff. I found that when I have used the puff, it is also very effective. And the puff, any type of kind of puff, is very good at pressing powder into the skin versus using a brush. And it just really gives you that flawless airbrushed appearance. But I don't usually use the puff, but it does work. It does come on the top of this, and this is a really soft puff, but I have used it before and get really good results with that as well. So I tend to bake a little bit and let it sit, but if you have more dry under eyes or more dry skin, you may want to just leave it on for a minute or two and then dust everything off so that you don't end up too dry. So that is basically my foundation concealer application routine, but I'm not quite done yet because the powder is still sitting on my face. So what I'm going to do is complete my brows and my eye makeup, and I'm going to come back so that you can see me finish the complexion and bring everything together, because you don't necessarily want to stop here. Okay. So I will be right back. So I've completed my quick eye look using the Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk Dreams palette that you guys have heard me talk about a lot. Really love this palette. Very simple and easy. And I have on like just mascara. I'm not doing lashes today, just my itty bitty lashes. So now what you would do is dust off powder from your complexion. And this is like any excess. And again, if you are a more dry skin person, you would want to dust the powder off sooner than this, like maybe right after brows before moving on to eyes. This is my complexion after dusting off translucent powder. And as you can tell, I'm still just a little bit lighter. I don't typically do this part, but I'm going to do something that I don't normally do to show you that you could stop here if you are a person that doesn't wear bronzer and some of the other products. Like if you just want to apply your foundation and that's it, maybe put on some lipstick and some mascara, that you could. So I'm going to apply my Fix Plus at this step. I'm going to cover my eyes so that it doesn't get on my eyes. And the reason that I applied it at this step is to sort of take down the look of powder, which is what I told you before that this is good for. You cover your eyes so that your eye makeup is not ruined, but this takes down the look of powder. And just by doing that, I really could go out like this without doing more. Because over the course of the day, as your oils begin to peep through, some of that lighter look is gonna start to change, and you're gonna start looking a little bit more normal, maybe after an hour or two, even if you just stopped here. But I'm not gonna stop here. If you wanna stop the video here and this is all that you would do, then you can stop here. But I am gonna just quickly speed through this part of what I would do next to get a very flawless complexion, but this video is about the base, all about the base. And we have completed the base at this point, and it looks very skin-like, just very bright in the center, but not too bright. I'm very pleased with how my foundation base looks right now. But I'm gonna complete my look. I'm gonna speed through this part, and then we'll sum everything up.
Hold me close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go. Finding life along the way, melodies we haven't played. No, I don't want no rest. Echoing around these walls, fighting to create a song. I don't wanna miss a beat. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go.
So this is my completed look, and I hope that my very kind of step-by-step slow instructions have been helpful to those of you who are new at this, or even for people who are looking for new ways to apply your makeup to give you that more flawless appearance. This entire complexion routine is something that I do on a regular basis, and it serves me very well. So I hope that you guys have enjoyed it. Also, please don't forget to click the link down below if you're interested in entering this month's giveaway. If you like this video, give it a big thumbs up. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below and I will respond. And if you've not already subscribed to my channel, go ahead and click that subscribe button before you leave. So I'll be seeing you guys again very soon in my next video. So until the next time we meet again, this is Savvy signing out.